Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. We're able to listen to you, sir.
Yeah. So shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Or we'll wait a few minutes? Murthy garu?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kamal Reddy, start chedama.
Okay, change, sir.
Okay. I'll just share one presentation. I think ఎవరైతే host ఉన్నారో మూర్తి గారు కూడా ఉన్నారు. If there's any audio disturbance, we can mute, I think, from our side. Okay. Only those who are genuinely interested, they can put their question in the chat box or just ask me. Murthy ji, I'm not able to share the presentation. It says host disabled to participate in screen sharing.
Yes, sir. I disabled it. Just in it. Yes, sir. You can do it, sir. Now you can.
Right? Okay. Just give me 1 second.
I made you as a co-host so that easy for you.
Okay.
Instead of so that.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Sorry for the minor hiccup and disturbance. Some mischievous guy has done this, but that's okay. I think we all should learn to handle this kind of situations. Anyway, as I mentioned, previously before starting this particular program, that in the next 40-45 minutes, I will actually highlight certain things, the importance of Science Day, and then how is it useful, etc., etc. Let me just do this. We all know that, just for the sake of recap, that the Science Day is celebrated to commemorate the centennial discovery of Raman effect. And as physical teachers, you all might be knowing what is this. It's basically scattering of light by the matter. But then that simple property of the matter has made revelations which has got so many applications that we all know that today we have many scanners based on Raman spectroscopy and Raman effect. Since I am not a physics teacher, I will not go into the details of that. But the whole purpose of initiating a National Science Day is to celebrate and commemorate that particular discovery. So, but in a larger picture, National Science Day is celebrated for various purposes. I have listed a few of them. Like it is to spread the message about importance of the science in day-to-day life. Also to showcase all our achievements in the field of science and technology, and to discuss all the issues and problems that we are facing and how can we overcome. And to, most importantly, to give an opportunity to the scientific-minded citizens. I have not used the scientific-minded students here because science belongs to every category of the community. Of course, as the teachers and as academicians, our focus is on students. But I think scientific mind for every citizen is equally important. Lastly, to popularize science and technology, and its utility. So in the next few slides, I will try to highlight these things because at the end of it, my message is that you, science teachers, are the ambassadors of these activities and these objectives. And then I request you all to make your students as your next line ambassadors for this cause. Okay, I think that is the sum and substance of the message for today's celebration. Well, just to also highlight you, every year a theme is selected for National Science Day. For example, 1 year we have selected our changing earth. In another year we have wealth from waste, and last year it was like women in science. In some other year it was science for people and people for science. So every year one particular theme is selected and a focus is given to that particular theme. But it's not that we ignore other aspects. Focus is on that, but every aspect of science is celebrated. This year the theme is future of science, technology, innovation, and its impacts on education, skills, and work. I think this is a very carefully worded thing. They are not saying its impact on education or science, its impacts on education, skills, and work. So that's where we want to actually see how much we can take this forward to the society. Now, I want to begin with this particular importance slide of the importance of science in a daily life. As I mentioned, there are few objectives of this Science Day. The one of them is how do we highlight the importance of the science in the daily life of the people. Usually when I go to any college or school to the kids and when I have to say about the importance of the science, this is how I start and why I am sharing this with you. Probably you can use the same approach when you want to highlight the importance of the science and you want to motivate the kids towards the science. So this is one of the things I thought. So generally we use a approach called 24/7, but here I am trying to tell you that 60/24. That means every minute. So 64/24 approach, it starts from the time you wake up. Whether you wake up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, immaterial. But the moment you wake up, first thing you want to see is that what is the time? Is it 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock? Then how did we come to this idea of time and how did we develop this wall clock or wristwatch or whatever it is, your mobile watch? It's all again, comes back to the science and technology. I think this is where we have to start, kids to realize the importance of the science. Then it goes by minute up to the time that you go to the bed and beyond that. When I say that, I would give some examples and or take a few minutes of our daily life. Let's say first thing you see your time, then you get up from the bed, and then you may want to brush your teeth. Whether you want to use a neem stick, brush vartara, it's your choice. But when it comes to brush and paste, it's all again goes back to the science. Then afterwards, you want to take the bath. How do you take your bath? Hot water. Well, many of us may take cold water also. That is okay. But then the idea of heating the water, how does it arrive? Now you have to have a coil which with a resistance, it will provide the energy. It transfers to the water. So this is how again science. Then you have taken your bath. Now you want to have your breakfast. So is it in a pressure cooker or is it cooked on katlapaya, whatever it is? Again, there is a science. So what I am trying to tell, if you start minute by minute activity, in every minute there is a science. This is what I want to emphasize, re-emphasize, re-emphasize. Okay, then after that you had your breakfast and you want to go to the school or college. Whether it is your father who drops by a scooter or by a car, then how did this scooter arrive? How did this car arrive to our life? Earlier we did not have this. So it's all again the fruits of the science and technology. So one of the things what you can do, you can ask the kids to list them what all that is involved in the science from the time they get up to the time they sleep. But then don't forget that after sleep also there's science. So this is one way that we should highlight the importance of the science. Okay. Then just a few slides. There are different areas of the science. In the physical science, what all that we use the applications based on the first principles of the science. Because in teaching, what do we use? First principles. What are those first principles? It could be Archimedes principles, it could be Pythagoras principle, it could be thermodynamic law 1, Newton's law 1, whatever it is. So how are they come? So you take the gravity or friction. Gravity means things will fall down. Friction means when you walk on the street, why don't you fall down? And how do you maintain your balance? It's again goes back to the first principle of the science, that is friction. So also, as I said, how do you heat your food, whether it's tea or coffee or your food? Then all other things like fire and ice, etc., etc. I would not enumerate. I am trying to highlight that how this first principles of the science that we teach in the class have got the applications. This is where we missed our, I think, bus over the years, in highlighting the importance of the science to the kids. We only taught them, okay, by heart the Archimedes principle, by heart Pythagoras principle, but they did not know why are they doing that. If we were to teach all these things for how they are useful in day-to-day life, they would have enjoyed it. They would not have mugged it. They would have simply written what they understood it. That is one thing. So also in chemistry, like as I said, it could be your soap, it could be your paste, it could be your paint, and it could be even your food. I mean, this is what I say. Food is all about chemistry. You take any food, there's a molecule, and how it is digested, and how it is absorbed. Everything is chemistry. Food or medicine also. But I will not highlight too much about the medicine. Medicine anyway, it's a separate discipline called pharmacy or drug discovery. So again, when it comes to biology, there are so many principles of chemistry and physics are involved. This is where I want biology teachers also to take note of that. What are the principles of chemistry, physics, even maths are involved in biology? We should highlight them. Otherwise, you know, people think that biology is different, chemistry is different, physics is different. That's why when you go to the, you know, +2, the moment you take BPC, you tend to forget physics because you think that I don't care about the physics. But you know, you cannot live without physics. Same way, somebody who takes physics, they think that I don't need biology and chemistry. No, this is a wrong notion. This is what we need to actually highlight to the kids. So it may be boring for you, but then what are all the technological advances in other areas, whether it's in agriculture or educational field? You know that earlier how we were doing our farming, now what all the tools that we have in agriculture sector, and what all the gadgets we have in our education field, how they have arrived. We should actually tell them sometime, once in a month or once in 2 months, you know, spare an hour for them to, you know, realize that, you know, what is the importance of the science. Okay, now as I said, that is, you know, while teaching. The reason I took those examples is that while teaching, we should see that they realize and they appreciate the science. Then it comes to the applications of the science in daily life, which is very, very important. For that, our students are ambassadors of, you know, taking this to the community. When I say taking this to the community means first they go to their family and they tell them that, okay, this is what I learned. I want you all to practice this. And they can also tell the neighbors, they can tell their community people. How do we do this? Okay, one of them, I'm trying to be very practical here. I don't want to talk today rocket science and, you know, the ISRO technologies and missiles. I think people are there to tell you that. I want to highlight a few things, how the science importance. So once we know that, these kids can go home and they realize whether their milk is adulterated, their other food items, whether it's a pasco, mirialu, karam, whatever it is it adulterated? How can they detect that? We can teach them. Like actually in FSSAI website, there's a kit for detecting the food adulteration. Today, it takes another half an hour for me to show you all the methodology to detect the food adulteration, but I can share that with you later. So what I'm trying to say, the immediate use of the science is this. Can we detect what is happening with our food? And can they teach their parents? Can they teach their neighbors? Can they teach their community people? And they can also educate about the importance of the nutrition and health. I have some slides to tell you that. More importantly, what is the importance of balanced diet? Otherwise, these days, you know, diet has become one of the determinants for the many diseases, particularly the chronic diseases that we call, whether it's a diabetes, cancer, etc., etc. I have a few slides. If we teach them and if the kids learn this, and they can educate their own people. And some of other examples, how can we minimize the plastic use and what are the alternatives to plastic use? I am using the word minimizing the plastic because it is impossible to avoid plastic. At certain places, some amount of plastic is necessary, but how can we minimize that? And most importantly, how do we protect our environment? And how much, you know, plantation can be done? How much gardening can be done? How it will protect us in turn? These are all the things that, you know, we need to propagate through science. That is a part of the application. I am only showing the examples, but the sky is the limit for you. That means when I say you, teachers of the science, ambassadors of the science, you can take any number of these kind of examples. As I said, starting from 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I repeat the word, sky is the limit for you. You can tell any number of examples. The other part is awareness of the science for the daily life. You can ask what is the difference between application and awareness. Once you are aware, you know what to act, what not to act. Best example is currently the vaccine, COVID vaccine. Even the most educated people are concerned about the vaccine. Should I take it or not? I believe that even in Telangana, good number of the frontline people who are registered, they have not turned out for the vaccination because they think that something is going to happen. So that again comes back to that, how much you are educated, how much you learned about it, how much, you know, you spent your time to get educated yourself. If you are not able to understand, did you approach somebody else? So this is where I try to say that awareness of the science for day-to-day life. Then as I said, awareness of the science will also help you to decide what is good for your food, what is good for your health, and what is good for your life. But examples, now if I start enumerating, it will take time. Let me take, because I am from Nutrition Institute, I want to highlight a few important aspects of the food and nutrition. One is that food is geographic specific. That means the food grown in the area where we are living is good for us. There is a scientific reason for that. Let us say in temperate regions or, you know, where we are living, certain foods are grown which are not grown in other parts of the world, in other parts of the country. So why are these foods are grown in this area where we are living? Because they are suitable for our body. Not that is grown in Sweden, or that is grown in Norway, which is a cold temperature. That is not suitable for you. So there is science in it. How can we say that? Yes, I'll tell you that people always these days, because anything excess is not good. Too much of health awareness creates a problem, because people think that olive oil is good for us. Yes, certainly olive oil is good for us, but it is not grown in our area for the reasons that I said. It is geographic specific. People who are in the cold regions, they can take it, but you don't need it. Yes, you can take it, but you don't need to import it, and you don't need to pay 1,000 rupees instead of 100 rupees. You don't need to have it. You have the groundnut oil, which is good for you. So this is the awareness, I call it as. And another thing is, food is season specific. The foods that are grown in that season are important for our health, and there's a reason for it. Particularly, I'll take one example. In the cold season, that is in the winter season, you see all these citrus fruits are grown, whether it's amla, regu pandlu, sitapallu pandlu, whatever it is you name in the winter season, enumerate cheyandi. They're all rich in nutrients which are good for our immunity. Because in those seasons, we will have, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, fine. So in that season, we tend to get some of the respiratory problems and our immunity related problems. That's why in that season, these foods are grown. But this is the education that is required for us. It's not that just you mug up and write, then whether you are getting 99 out of 100 is immaterial. This is the material for us. What is material? What foods are grown? Why they are grown? How are they useful to us? So same way in the summer season, you list down at least about 10 or 20, ask your kids to list down. You see most of them are water-rich foods, whether it's watermelon or tarbuja or name any other things, because in the summer you tend to get dehydrated. So you need to be hydrated. So I can go on saying like that. So how much we are aware of it. But then science also has got a problem. So technology has two sides. Like any coin has both the tail and head. Technology has got a problem. Now with the technology, we can grow any crop round the year, whether it's good or bad. Personally, my view is that you need not to grow watermelon 12 months in a year, because it is good in only summer. You don't need to take it in the winter, but you have the technology where you can grow it in any time of the year. So that is the problem with the technology and science. That's where I'm trying to tell you that the education and awareness is very important. Again, foods are age specific and physiologic specific. When I say age specific, old people can have some different foods, whereas kids can have some different foods. You know that our old ancient people know that what to be given to in the beginning of their first feeding. Annaprasana anta kada vedi anna vesi danta intaki neyi esi pedte, that is good for the kids. But ఇప్పుడు ఏమైతే ఒక స్పూన్ నెయ్యి తీసుకుంటే నాకు ఏమైపోతున్నా ఎంత లావ్ అయిపోతున్నా అని మన వాళ్ళు తెగ ఆయాసపడిపోతున్నారు. It's not really necessary, because you can really take 2 to 3 spoons ghee in the morning. You can take 2 to 3 spoons in the evening. Nothing will happen. As a nutrition scientist from Nutrition Institute, I will guarantee you. Unless otherwise you have other problem like diabetes, ఇంకేదైనా obesity అట్లాంటివి ఉంటే తప్ప, don't get carried by the non-relevant propaganda that goes in YouTube or other social media. And then one important thing in nutrition, I know you are all aware of it, but I thought I should make a point. Diet diversification is one important thing in the nutrition point. When I said diet diversification, what does that mean? You should take as many varieties of the foods as possible. If you simply take only rice 3 times in a day or wheat 2 times in a day, all that you get is carbohydrates. But we in the book, what do we teach? We need carbohydrates, we need proteins, we need fats, we need micronutrients, vitamin A, B, B1, B2, B3, vitamin C. So how do we get all these things if you take only rice and little bit of pappu or dal? We have to take as many varieties as possible, for one simple reason: no single food give you all the nutrients that are required for the body. This is what we need to tell the kids. I'll tell you, once we teach them, there are some kids, not only kids, even we have some specificity for the food. Somebody says that I don't take this one, I don't take brinjal, I don't take potato, I don't take this one, I don't like onion and all that. If you educate them, even if they don't like, if they appreciate the science, maybe they will try to adapt themselves to the situation. This is what is required, because why should we take variety of foods? We need to meet our requirements of nutrients, of all these kind of nutrients. Otherwise, you will end up eating only the carbohydrates throughout your life. and which invariably leads to either obesity or diabetes. That is a different thing. Same way, now forgetting that, all of a sudden we all started taking supplements. Why do we need supplements? Supplementation of nutrients among a healthy population does not confer any additional benefit. I repeat this word coming from the Nutrition Institute. Supplementation of nutrients that are available in the medical shop for healthy people is not required unless otherwise there's a report for you that no, this particular nutrient is deficient, either you are B12 deficient or vitamin D deficient. You don't need to pop up all these supplements. Only thing is you take care of your food habits, diet diversification based on the season specificity, based on your age, and based on your condition. So some of these nutrients in excess actually can create some even problems. I'll tell you that's that is called food safety and food toxicity. That's why we should also be aware of this, and we should be teaching our kids this. Since I am from this domain, I am going to focus on that. But my point is that in every other domain, we need to educate about the importance of the science. Okay, I just shown you some of the things. What are the locally available foods? What are they rich? I don't want to waste your time on this, but just to tell you that how it works and how much of different categories of foods are required. This is a my plate concept that is available in our website. That how much cereal in a day we should be taking, about 300 grams, pulses about 100 grams, milk and curd 300 ml. But in our survey, you will be surprised to know that this is not even close to 100 ml per day in the community. So that's where we should educate our kids and we should educate ourselves. Like, we should be meeting these requirements. And, NIN recommends about 400 grams of vegetables and fruits. In our survey, none of us are meeting 100 grams. How can we increase the awareness and how can we increase our health related problems? This is the importance of the science. Then that's what I just put another word. One of the things wherever I go to the schools, one of the ways that we assess the nutritional status of all the category of people, particularly the kids, by their height, weight. This is one of the important parameter for the entire country to talk about the stunting, wasting, undernourished, malnourished. They simply take height and weight. For a given age, what should be your height? For given height, what should be your weight? If you want, I will share that chart later. If you are not meeting that, they will certify you as a stunted children or wasted children or something like that. So it is a very simple. You should have one scale in your classroom and one balance. The balance means weight చూసుకునేది మనం అంటే బాత్రూమ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ అంటాం కదా, తూకం వేసేది. ఒక స్కేల్ గోడకు రాసేసి ఒక వెయిట్ చూసుకునేది పెట్టుకుంటే in your whole school, you know that how many of them are, whether normal people, how many of them are undernourished, most importantly, how many of them are obese also, you will get to know. And you can always educate them whether they should reduce their weight or they should increase their weight. Okay. As I said, the actual consumption of milk and milk products are only not even 9% of the rural kids and 14% of the urban population are meeting our requirement. The reason is that their education and their awareness is minimal. That is the problem. And that the mean intake of milk and dairy is 100 grams against our 300 recommendation. So this is another slide, for all of you. Also that, different oils are good for different purposes. As I said, in the diet diversification, changing the oils is also important. Don't take only one type of sunflower all the time, which will only give you N6 rich oils, but not N3. Therefore, you keep changing your oils. Again, I have put a slide here that some oils are good for certain things. For example, ghee is good for frying, etc., but not for our regular consumption. Whereas, the best one I can tell you is here somewhere groundnut oil, that is peanut oil. Peanut oil is good for frying, cooking, and all other things. Whereas some oils are not good for frying, some oils are not good for dressing, etc. And there is a science here. It depends on the smoke point. I want you to educate your kids. Why are we using these things? Because the smoke point is high, you can use it for frying. But if you're not, you cannot use it. That is the science. Well, I will skip some of these slides. We know in the COVID situation, we talked about all traditional medicines and our Ayurveda and all that. There is actually a sanctum sanctity here, but many people either criticize it, not even knowing that. And Other side of it, that many people not even knowing whether it's good or bad, somebody said they use it. One thing, our folk medicine or traditional medicine, I want to tell you that if it is practiced and if it is being used over the years and nothing is reported, we can use it. But otherwise, if just because somebody told you that, take the Loki juice and without knowing what happens, don't do that. You should have the either evidence or it has been practiced in your family over the generations, you can go for it. Otherwise, just because somebody said, బెండకాయ rasam disi తాగితే మొత్తం diabetes 10 వరకు తగ్గిపోతుంది అంటే, let us not do that. Let us look for the things, whether it is reported, whether it is practiced. So then only we can go for it. So likewise, food safety is another issue that, we all think that just taking food is good. No, food security is actually a permanent access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food supply needed to maintain an active and healthy life. The safety, quality and nutritional value of food is very, very important for the health and well-being. So there are many food toxicity issues, as I mentioned, without knowing if you take different things, just because somebody said something, we should not simply practice it. Yeah, there are various problems of the food safety and nutrition. As I said, one of the things we can do is, as science teachers, you can actually download the food adulteration kit from the FSSAI website. When I say FSSAI, it is Food Safety Standards Authority of India. Okay, they have mentioned how to detect a food adulteration. That is one simple thing that we can implement or ask our kids to implement in our day-to-day life. So, to sum up, the true food security means that food production was done at the village level. When I say village level, local, and fair access to locally grown quality of food is given. As a consequence, this is also one important why we should promote locally grown food is that if it is imported all the time, transported from somewhere from Kashmir or from Kanyakumari, during the transport anything can happen. As a consequence, all exports were to be halted, and as relying on outside help would make India more dependent. As I said, if you want to depend every other food items to be imported from some other country, we never become the Atmanirbhar, what our government says. So that's why we should promote the local grown and the local food, which has got a scientific evidence. So in other words, we should actually tell the kids that science is colorful, it's enjoyable, and it has got its own importance for 2-3 reasons. I will tell you here one thing. We have to tell the students science in 2-3 levels. One is what all that I said in the last 5 or 10 minutes, its importance in daily life, its awareness for daily life, and its applications for many things. As I said, if you know how electricity works, how the circuit works, something breaks down in your home, you can attend on it. You understand that what happened. Otherwise, you have to immediately, even for a small thing, you have to call an electrician. You may have to call a plumber. But if you understand the science, you can attend simple things on a day-to-day basis. This is one thing. Second thing is that, now, as I said, we are not done yet. We have so many problems. For the problems to be solved, we need to develop our own solutions. This is what is the Atmanirbhar, this government day in and day out says that. How do we develop the solutions? We don't depend, some solution that is developed for a country which is, 1,000 miles away. The condition may be different there, but the conditions are different here. Therefore, we need to have our own solutions. So that is where we have to make good number of kids to go towards the science and research. This is another aspect. This is also equally important. First importance I have already mentioned. Second importance is how do we attract the students towards the science and research for their career. Why do they need to take up the research for their career? Because they have the scope to solve the problem of this country. When we say solve, we should at least give some examples. Otherwise, they tend to think on their own. Let us say what is the problem that they want to solve. Now, with the time, our land available for cultivation is coming down. Then in a given land, how best we can grow the maximum amount of foods. Therefore, we need to develop different varieties of the plants that can give maximum yield. Then we need to develop the varieties of the plants that are resistant to pests, that are resistant or that can grow with the minimum amount of water, that can have maximum number of nutrients. These are the things that we should be telling the kids. Likewise, in the health sector, we can tell them what are the problems we are facing, how we need to solve these problems. So that is the area we should attract these kids towards the science and research. When I say every student need not to come to the science, because we have other professions also. They should go to the administration, they should go to the engineering, they should go to IAS, IPS, they should even go to the army and police. Otherwise, how do we survive? Therefore, I think we have a tendency that we try to emphasize only one thing. Whoever is good in what, they should come into this area. But they should be knowing before coming that what are they can achieve, what they can achieve in this area, how they can fulfill their aspirations, how they can contribute to the country. I think this is another message that we should emphasize. Okay, and we should tell them that what all that we have achieved. I told you, one of the reasons why we celebrate Science Day, to showcase our achievements. I just put some of the major achievements in one slide, that we have developed vaccines for many diseases, whether it is measles, polio, DPT, hepatitis, etc. And the recent one is COVID. Otherwise, year and year, millions would have died. So that is a major advantage. I mean, development in the science. And then we have developed the treatment for diabetes, whether it is insulin or other anti-diabetic medication. We have developed antibiotics for most of the pathogens, whether it's bacteria or virus. We have developed medication for blood pressures. We have improved the treatment for AIDS. I want you people to tell the kids, they may not know now, 30 years ago, if somebody is AIDS, we have given it up, that one day or the other, that person is going to die. But today, it's not the case. They can live the normal life like any other person because of the science and technology. We should teach our kids, because they would not know that how the taboo that was associated with AIDS 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So these are the things we should tell them, that we have developed the treatments for heart diseases, and we have developed new surgical techniques. Actually, now microsurgery is the advanced surgical development. They call it as a keyhole surgery, microsurgery. They need not to cut open your entire body. You can, even without anesthesia also, these days they are doing the surgery. That is the development. So I can go on listing like that. Gene therapy. Now we know there are many diseases that depend on some problem with a particular disease, particular gene. Now you can insert that gene. That is the gene therapy. So now we have stem cell therapy. There are some cells we can, for example, diabetes is there. You can give islet transplantation in the pancreas, and you can stop the diabetes. The most recent development is the genome editing and CRISPR-Cas9 system. If any one of you in biology who are reasonably familiar with, I want you to teach them what is this genome editing and CRISPR-Cas9. With this, we can create living beings, including human beings, the way you want. Whether it's good or bad, that's another thing. As I was telling, technology has two sides. So you have to always tell the positive side, don't tell them negative side. But you can literally create any living being, including human beings, the way you want. I'll tell you, when I say the way you want, for example, if you type a sentence in the Word document, all of a sudden you want to remove the word for by just deleting it. It is that kind of technology. You can simply go there and erase it. You use the backspace, you can use the delete button, or you can use the insert button. It is exactly similar to that of the Word document or PPT document, that you work with your document, you can work with your genome. That is the genome editing technology now we are in. Okay. So that's what we should tell them, that then they go excited. Oh, why can't I enter into this field? Then how can they club this artificial intelligence with this? All those things one can tell. But at the same time, there are many challenges that remain. Then they can ask, okay, sir, we are done with everything. Why do we need to research? This is where we need to answer them. What all the things that are there ahead of us? How are we going to face these challenges? That is also we should tell them that. That's what I said. Many challenges remain, including the appearance of new antibiotic resistance. Because now, even without knowing, we simply take one antibiotic for no reason. Then over a period, these bugs are like us also, they are very clever. They have started adapting to these antibiotics. They are not dying anymore. Therefore, we have to develop new antibiotics. So likewise, there are many challenges. So this is another dimension that I thought we as a teachers, we as academicians, how do we highlight the importance of the science? And in the last 5 to 10 minutes, if it is okay with you, I also want to share some slides. You can make your own presentation in your own way. This is my own way of telling the people, kids, what actually the research, how it works. Because many kids ask me, sir, do I need to do PhD for doing the research? The answer is yes or no. Then you have to tell them that why is it yes, why is it not yes. Okay. So, but anyway, I'll tell you a few things, how to take them in a nice way in the journey. Okay. These are basic ideas of the research, how it works. Let's say I simply draw a circle and tell them that, okay, so far whatever the knowledge that we have acquired is within this circle. Okay. All the knowledge that we have today is within this circle. Okay. But how did we come to this circle? Starting from our elementary school. In elementary school or primary school, what do we teach them? How to read, write, starting from alphabets, then how to pronounce it, and then how to write on their own. Once they are done with it, then we teach them a little bit of science, natural science, maths, and all that. Then when they come to the high school, we teach them some specialized subject like chemistry, geography, history, etc., etc. Here I'm showing, when you come to the bachelor degree, we take either BZC or MPC in our period. These days that the marcation is no longer relevant. But at least in our period, we decided to go with BZC or MPC. When you go to the MPC, your focus is on maths and physics. When I come to BZC, my focus is on biology and chemistry. But it doesn't mean that whatever the other knowledge you have gained, that helps you in the long run. But the only thing is you started focusing on that particular area. When you go to the masters, in my case, when I came to the masters, I took biochemistry. So, but then I still had some basics of the other subjects, whether it's physics, maths, etc., etc. But then, by the time I had done with my masters in biochemistry, what is expected of me? It is expected from me that when I have a master's degree in biochemistry, I should be knowing literally anything in that particular subject so far known. Literally, whether we know it or not is a different thing. So then what do I want to do next? When I want to do the PhD, this is where the question comes. Whether you call it as a PhD or research, it is up to you. But then by the time academically, when I'm done with my master's degree in biochemistry, I should have known everything in this particular area, what has happened. Now I want to explore what is not there. That is what is the research. Once you reach the boundary, you know that everything that is already available. You read it and you practice and you experience. It is all different things. But then now you want to do slightly different thing. Now why do you want to do the research? You want to push this boundary from this place where it is beyond. That is what we call, one day when you add some new knowledge to this one, that circle, at least in this area where I am working, let's say in biochemistry or biology or biomedical research, I have added some new knowledge that gives or that pushes that circle little up. That means that is the new knowledge that we have added. Similarly, either you call it as a PhD or whatever it is, it's up to us. But that's a knowledge. If you actually magnify that particular area, you can really feel proud that, okay, I have contributed something to this knowledge that already existed. But I want to tell you something here also. Sometimes kids always ask, sir, why do we call it as a research? Why don't you call it as a search? It's a very good question. I don't know how many of us can really answer this. In my own limited way, I say that everything that we discover, that we explore is already there in the nature. Only thing is we do not know it. We have to understand that. We have explored it. Now we are sharing this with everyone because you happen to be the first person to explore it and then you share it with others. Therefore, you are glorified and you are recognized that, okay, that's what we call it as, whether it's E is equal to MC square. That is already there in the nature. It was not that, we brought it from somewhere else and put it here. It was there. Only thing is we brought it into the notice of everyone. So that's why you have become an Einstein, you have become a Newton, you have become something. But when you again go back to the circle, let's say in biochemistry, I added something, but in the entire knowledge that biochemistry in a small thing, what I added, you can't even see, it is invisible. But that invisible is also important because in every area, each one of them start pushing this line up and up. That means we are adding new knowledge. When I say you are adding, you are exploring, you can use the word. So we are exploring the new things. So you keep pushing this boundary. But again, the kids will ask a question, why do we need to push this boundary, this line? This is for solving the specific problems. What are the specific problems? Let us say our motor vehicles. I think some 1,000 years ago, we did not have these vehicles, not even bullock carts. But the idea is that if it is a circle or it is in a wheel shape, the movement is easier than the flat surface. That is the idea. Then we have started making wheels. Then we started making motor vehicles. Then we started adding fuel to it. All that. Why did we do this? To solve our problem. Instead of walking for 2 days to reach one village to another place, we want to go in 20 minutes. That was the problem that we wanted to solve. Okay. I think this is what I can saying for another 1 hour or two. But I think in the biomedical research we have solved many many things. As I said, these are all achievements. And there's also sometimes, I think, particularly in this period, in the contemporary period, the demarcation between the subjects is nothing. Earlier we were saying that, okay, I am biology, I don't want MPC, and I am zoology, I don't need to do botany. Actually, these days, botany zoology has become extinct. It is called biology or life sciences. Therefore, people can say that who can do biomedical research? We all think that only BPC people who have taken. Now, everyone can literally do the biomedical research, whether they are chemists, whether they are computer science, whether they are engineers, even social scientists. This is one important thing I request you people to tell the people who take social science also, they can do research. Not many people know that social science means it's only some administration or something else. Even social science people can do research, because they are the ones who survey, who get the picture from the society, from the community to the lab. They are the important people. They are called social scientists. So, I think I'll skip all these definitions of health and disease for the sake of time, unless you want some specific questions. At the end of it, this is what I just wanted to say: stay healthy with a balanced diet. That is the message from the institute. But ultimately, what is the message on the Science Day? For that matter, don't restrict this all activity for only February 28th or at the most that last week of February. No. My request and my suggestion is that once in a while, every month or every 2 months, you call somebody from from a CCMB, from MGRI, from ISRO, from ARCI, even from Infosys. Ask those people to tell your kids what they are doing, why they are doing, and then these kids will develop some attitude. Okay, if you do like this, you are going to contribute like this. This is what we need to educate the kids. But if you allow me, I also want to share few slides. Is it okay? Can I take another 5 minutes?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So in my area, there are some nutritional problems. Earlier we used to talk about this, stunting and all that. But for the sake of for the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, I want to share these slides. We actually, by and large, we solved major nutritional problems, but still we are looked at as a undernourished country. The reason is that we are measured by our heights and weights. Sometimes these heights and weights also have a problem, because our geography is different from the geography that America and Europe has. Therefore, our body composition should be different from the other countries. And of late, many of us and our leaders started this concept. Therefore, we should have a different norms for us. Otherwise, if you see the stunting about 2005 and 6, from 48 to 2015 and 16, in 10 years, it reduced 10%. That means even in 100 years, we are not going to remove this. That's not actually the problem. We should have our own standards. We are simply going by WHO standards. We are going by UNICEF standards. We are going by World Bank dictators. No, I think we should have our own references. We should have our own standards. Then who are going to set this? The kids that now you are teaching them, you have to make them, okay, this is where you need to be heading. This is where you need to be taking our country. The reason I'll tell you that, we all talk about stunting. Wherever I go, I take some examples. Like, by any of nutritional standards, I am an undernourished person compared to either Kamal Reddy or, for that matter, any of the people in your group. But did I perform very poorly? No. Then why are you talking that my performance is linked to my body composition? There has to be some functionality. There has to be some functionality for your height and weight. There are many people who are short height. For that matter, you take Abdul Kalam, his height and weight is nowhere closer to the people in West and Europe. But he was much intellectual than anybody else. Does it mean that your height weight makes you, an intelligent person or a stupid person? No. This is where we should be heading. How do we link this to the functionality? Okay, we have been talking about anemia for the last 70 years. We have not removed anemia. There's some problem. We are giving left and right iron. That iron, only 1% of iron is helpful, but rest is useless. So there is some other problem to solve the anemia. We need to figure out that. We are only going by WHO, somebody XYZ. No, I think we need to figure out why is the problem that we are not able to remove this. So like this, I can go on, telling some points we have highlighted. We picked up that, our iron intake is almost 90%, but anemia is still there. That means the iron that you are giving is not actually getting utilized. The problem is with utilization, not with your intake. You are taking left and right, but it is not getting utilized. We have to solve that problem. Why we are not able to utilize it? Maybe there is some other reason in this area. So that problem we have. We have actually, this is left and right covered in the media. Some people did not like, but still India is shown in a red, saying that no, you have a bigger problem. Really, it's not a problem. I'll tell you. So I can go on saying that, for another, what I'm saying, actually medical science sometimes makes, everything is a problem. Like, starting from renal problem, diabetes, I'll give one example. Why, we should also be very careful. Why we should be very, very cautious for our own country. I'll tell you, diabetes, or for that matter, blood pressure, few years ago, at least 20 years ago, the blood pressure cutoffs were 140 by something like that. Now they reduced to 120. Now they say 110. Just because somebody says 110, you think that you are hypertension? No. We need to set that. Otherwise, some 10 multinational companies will come and selling the blood pressure tablets. Some 20 multinational companies will come and selling you the diabetic tablets, because the glycosylated hemoglobin 6.5 setup is the one that every company wants us to buy diabetic medication. The reason I'll tell you, when I started my research at NIN in 2000, the glycosylated hemoglobin cutoff was 8%. After some years, they made it 7. Now they are saying 6.5. In 20 years, what has changed? They only want to sell the drugs. We should be cautious whether we really need 6.5 cutoff or not. These are the things. Maybe kids are too kid, but as a science teachers, I think we should be aware of these things, how to take care of our health. So I think I'll just stop it here. And I just now want to have this disclosure that some of the points, views are my personal and probably highly biased, just for the sake of debate. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And I also take the Einstein quote: everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will never climb a tree. Whole life believing that it is a stupid. So let us not make our kids as a stupid. They are genius. We have to make them our kids as a genius. Thank you. And we have the responsibility. And Science Day is one day that where we can start this kind of activities. Thank you, sir. I can take some questions.
Questions, sir, some questions. Anyone? కమలరెడ్డి గారు ఎవరైనా క్వశ్చన్ అడగాలనుకుంటే క్వశ్చన్ అడగచ్చు. సార్ తెలుగులో కూడా ఆన్సర్ చేయగలరు. సార్ తెలుగు కూడా అడగచ్చు.
Somebody put in a chat box, sir, how does gene therapy and stem cells, Nagamani, stem cell concept help us in our future walk of life? Yeah, madam, actually stem cells are used already for some of the diseases, like some eye diseases, retinal diseases, and even some of the type 1 diabetic people. They are well, in our country the practice has to be still implemented in large scale, but in some countries they are already using the stem cells, and for that matter actually the skin grafts and all those things are also based on stem cell therapy. But particularly some eye diseases in the US, some retinal diseases, they are using induced pluripotent cells for replacing the dead retinal cells, and for that matter some of the other islets in the pancreas where they have to produce the insulin.
సార్ ఇంకెవరన్నా డౌట్స్ అడుగుతారా?
సార్ నమస్తే సార్.
నమస్తే అండి.
వాసుదేవ్ ఫ్రమ్ తాండూరు సార్.
చెప్పండి సార్.
సార్ ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్, చాలా మంచి ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇచ్చారు మాకు. నాది ఒక క్వశ్చన్ సార్. మా స్కూల్లో ఫేస్ చేస్తున్న ప్రాబ్లం రెగ్యులర్ గా, మా స్టూడెంట్స్ కి మార్నింగ్ తిని రావడం అలవాటు లేదు సార్. చాలా మంది ఆల్మోస్ట్ 80% స్టూడెంట్స్ వాళ్ళు టిఫిన్ చేయడం కానీ బ్రేక్ఫాస్ట్ చేయడం కానీ రారు. అట్లాంటి దాన్ని ఎట్లా ఓవర్కమ్ చేయాలని ఏం సజెస్ట్ చేస్తారు?
It's a habitual problem and cultural problem అండి. అంటే we need to tell them the importance, because రాత్రి మనం 8కో 9కో తిని మళ్ళీ మార్నింగ్ 8 అంటే it's already good period that we have given the break. So they should not skip their breakfast. If you want to, they can even skip their lunch, but they should not skip their breakfast, because that is the most important thing for the kids. So because the starvation period is more than 10 hours or 12 hours. So your body is already waiting for some food for the energy production. సో అందుకే మనం ఈ సైన్స్ యాక్చువల్గా ఇదే క్వశ్చన్ కాదు, నేను అనేది ఏంటంటే ప్రతి క్వశ్చన్ మనం సైన్స్ వైపు నుంచి కొంచెం డైరెక్ట్ చేస్తే వాళ్ళకు కూడా కొద్ది క్యూరియాసిటీ పెరుగుతుంది. ఎందుకంటే మనం బ్రేక్ఫాస్ట్ స్కిప్ చేయకూడదు అంటే, ఎప్పుడు తీసుకున్నాం మనం ఫుడ్? నిన్న రాత్రి 8 గంటలకు 9 గంటలకు తీసుకున్నాం. ఆల్రెడీ 9 గంటలు అంటే 12 గంటల నుంచి అవర్ సెల్స్ ఆర్ స్టార్వింగ్. మనం ఏమంటాం, మనకు ఆకలి అవుతుంది అంటున్నాం. యాక్చువల్ వాళ్ళకి ఏం చెప్పాలి, నీ సెల్స్ దే ఆర్ ఆకలి అయ్యి చచ్చిపోతున్నారా బాబు, వాటికి ఇంత ఫుడ్ పెట్టని చెప్పాలన్నమాట. And then that creates a lot of problem. ఎందుకంటే the body tends to adopt in a different way when you starve for a longer period. Of course, there's a concept of fasting, that is a different thing. For kids, we should not do this because breakfast is the most important thing. Slowly they can practice. మనం ఇప్పుడు ఫాస్టింగ్ అంటాం కదా, దాన్ని ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక కాన్సెప్ట్ చెప్తాను మీకు. మధ్యాహ్నం లంచ్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు స్కిప్ యువర్ డిన్నర్, you slowly reduce your food and then also your time of the fasting period కొంచెం పెంచండి. అంటే మనం వేరే కాన్సెప్ట్, అది ఇక్కడ సైన్స్ డే గురించి చెప్పట్లేదు. దట్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ హ్యాస్ గాట్ ఏ ట్యూనింగ్, అంటే ఆల్ ఆఫ్ సడన్ చేయకూడదు మనం. సో వీ నీడ్ అవర్ బాడీ టు అడాప్ట్ ఫర్ ద సిచ్యువేషన్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Anyway, my larger message, I hope you got it. The Science Day objective ఏంటంటే threefold. ఒకటి, the entire society should be aware and should use the benefits of the science. That is one fold. Then once you know the science, instead of simply చదివి నాకు 100 వస్తాయా 96 వస్తాయా అని కాకుండా దాని ఉపయోగం ఏమని తెలుసుకుంటే, ఇన్ ఎవ్రీడే లైఫ్ హౌ కెన్ యూ సాల్వ్ యువర్ ప్రాబ్లమ్. మీ ఇంట్లో ఉన్న మీ కరెంట్ పోయే ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఫిక్స్ చేస్తారా, లేకపోతే మీ ఫ్యాన్ ఫిక్స్ చేస్తారా, మీ మోటార్ ను ఫిక్స్ చేస్తారా, అది ఒక లెవెల్. రెండో లెవెల్, యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో హెల్ప్ యువర్ నైబర్స్, యూ కెన్ హెల్ప్ యువర్ విలేజ్ పీపుల్. మూడోది ఏంటంటే బిగ్గర్ పిక్చర్ ఫర్ ద డెవలప్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ద నేషన్. సైన్స్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ ఇస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. వీ హ్యావ్ టు ప్రిపేర్ ద ఫ్యూచర్ సైంటిస్ట్. అది ఒక ఇంపార్టెంట్ యాక్టివిటీ. వీటిని మనం దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని కనుక ముందుకు వెళ్తే, ఐ థింక్ ద పర్పస్, ద ఆబ్జెక్టివ్స్ ఆఫ్ నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే are fulfilled.
సార్ ఇంకెవరైనా మాట్లాడతారా?
And another point is, science is always, you have to learn science by doing. Like other, social, migta subjects, by reading you can learn. But science, maximum you learn by doing it. Either it is a Archimedes principle or Pythagoras principle or any physics principle, first principle, if possible, please demonstrate to them. Just don't demonstrate, you also explain the applications. Then in their entire life, they will not forget it. Actually, ఇంకా వాళ్ళకి చదవాల్సిన అవసరమే లేదు. They can straight away go to the exam and write. Actually, మనం అనుకున్న దానికి ఇంకో 4 పేజీలు ఎక్కువ కూడా రాస్తారు వాళ్ళకి తెలుసుకుంటే. Yeah, if there are no questions, I once again thank you all for patiently listening to me, whether you liked it or not. Maybe some of my concepts are slightly personal opinion, but that's fine. It's all for the benefit of the society and benefit of the country. So I think larger picture is that we have to become self-reliant, Atmanirbhar Bharat. How science can help us. That's the theme of this year's Science Day. Once again, I thank Murthy and Kamal Reddy, all the Vigyana Bharathi team of Vikarabad. And in future, I would like to visit you personally and physically. We'll have a meeting. Thank you.
ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. వికారాబాద్ విజ్ఞాన భారతి యూనిట్ తరఫున మీకు మనస్ఫూర్తిగా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నా. ఇప్పుడు అదే రకంగా దీన్ని ఈ యొక్క ప్రోగ్రామ్ను కోఆర్డినేట్ చేసిన GLN మూర్తి సార్ కూడా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నా. నాగమణి టీచర్,
Yes, sir.
శాంతి మంత్రంతో ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ముగిద్దాం సార్.
Yes. Once again,
భానుజీ, దీన్ని సక్సెస్ చేయాలని ఇండివిజువల్ గా లింక్ 2-3 రోజుల నుంచి అందరికి పంపించడం జరిగింది. కానీ అన్ఫార్చునేట్లీ మనకు ఇది డిస్టర్బెన్స్ కావటం వల్ల ఎక్కువ మంది జాయిన్ కాలేకపోయింది సార్. సారీ.
No problem, no problem.
Sir, once again, on behalf of the Vigyana Bharathi team Vikarabad, I thank Bhanu Prakash Reddy sir, GLN Murthy sir, and it was a great opportunity for being with you, sir. And you have shared your valuable suggestions like 60/24 concept, importance of science in everyday life, food and balanced diet, environment protection. What you said is very inspiring. If you protect the environment, environment protects us. And how to download the food adulteration scale from FSSAI, and wonders of technology like in agriculture, microsurgery, etc. And you have also given a valuable suggestions on delicate and powerful concepts like gene therapy, stem cells, and artificial intelligence, which is one of my favorite subjects. And yes, sir. Last year I presented a seminar on this, but it was a failure. And you gave a focus on what is a research, how should it be helpful in solving a problem, and also how the social scientists are helping us. And last but not the least, how the diabetes and BP blood pressure scales are varying, and how we are prone to take the tablets literally. It's a really and then the theme of the science day, it's a remarkable science day for all the science teachers here, sir. And lastly, I think from the team Vikarabad Vigyan Bharathi, we are sorry for the inconvenience created. It was not an expected one. And Kamal Reddy sir, Shanti Mantram Japmantar. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Can I take the leave and exit from the program?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Murthy ji? Okay, I think in the next academic year we'll have a meeting, physical meeting at your place. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Welcome.